today in a big conversation, we have a statistician, I must say, a political commentator, and a person who tries to view, and not only tries but sees the thing in a format, a person from the upbringing in the streets of not only Kampala, where he's been to and grown up from at least, but everywhere, to all the people that have been suppressed, people that need a voice to be heard, and people that have human rights watch and believe that everyone has to enjoy these rights. JK on the show today, and we're basically going to have a conversation, brief, straight to the point, organized, about what's going on and happening in Kampala. Is it the event being, what should I call it? Is it the events that are being so much influenced by the history? The persons with their power in government, let's say, with the power that they have and now feel like they can do everything? I'll start with such a question.
Okay. Are the events influenced by power or by history? We'll start with the last sentence, history. What have we learned from history as Ugandans? First of all, if you look at what is happening, the ongoings, you agree with me that we've been lazy, super lazy, to learn nothing from history. Because if we had learned from history, we would remember that in the year 1980, Uganda experienced a war, a guerrilla war that brought the current regime in power 5 years later. You understand? It would have taught us, if we have not been lazy enough, we would have noticed that from a year 1986, when this government came in, up to a year of 1995, we had no elections, and the first election we had violence. Violence continued up to 2001, and it continued up to today. So they are the events that are going on. In my own view, I may be wrong. They are not influenced by history. History is something nice that we should all cherish. We should learn from, because as a statistician, when I'm doing anything, a survey, whatever that I'm going to, when I'm doing my analysis, I learn from the past and the present to predict the future. So we always do what we call modeling in statistics. Even here, we should learn. If people learned from history, we would have gotten something. Maybe we may introduce some kind of new politics, which we call political modeling, where where leaders are a bit more futuristic than they are. When you read,
being a bit more futuristic, I'll talk to you there. Being a bit more futuristic, don't you think that that aspect is running, given a manifesto tribute to some political parties? Let's say the NRM, it has a title to its manifesto that they are securing their future. Do you think that's futuristic?
Because just wording in the wording, it does not mean one of the most misused words in our lives is people say a lot of "I love you." As I'm speaking today, there's someone who wants to con someone, but using the word "I love you." You understand? Mm-hmm. This is at a personal level. So let us bring it at a wider view, at a national level. We've seen this government, I think Museveni's government, they've used the different slogans, prosperity for all. But as they were saying prosperity for all, more businessmen and more businesswomen in Kampala and around Uganda, they lost their business. But in that same time, it was supposed to be prosperity for all, right? Then, as we left there, they introduced another slogan. I think it was a steady progress. But a steady progress has brought people like Honorable Chagulanyi. For them, they thought that, okay, we at a person level may be a person of Chagulanyi who was steadily progressing. But what about other citizens? Another group, the citizens of Uganda, the youths, you notice that the progress was not steadily with them. So to make my point, today we have a slogan from NRA, NRM. I'll use NRA deliberately because recently Mr. Yoweri Museveni, he has reminded us that those who know the real ideology of NRA, they'll understand why I'm bringing this. When you try to see securing your future, which people will be present in the future? Of course, the young ones, right? In the same before the elections, he's failed to take back students to school, right? However much the statistics, the facts about surrounding the COVID, they show that actually young people are not much affected like the older ones. You understand? If you may permit me to continue, I was saying, if he was interested in your future, in my future as young people, today universities will be open to everyone, schools will be open to everyone, and then also maybe the government, those who have money to graduate, however much the dropout rate in Uganda, for your information, I can authoritatively say from the statistics that are given by UBOS and UNEM, the dropout rate is around 95%. Like from a person who started primary one, by the time you get to university, 95 of your friends, they have not made it to the university. And those who manage to go to the university level, they are, most of them, they are not employable, actually not even employed. So that is the big number. That is where the future is. So I ask myself, is that a way of securing your future? Today, when you read the manifesto of NRM with that slogan, securing your future, I've not seen, it has not convinced me whether the healthy sector is going to improve. Given the fact that in the last term, they brought in an investor who's supposed to invest in a hospital, which is supposed to be around, I think, Lubowa, along the Entebbe Road. They gave
along Entebbe Road,
they gave him a lot of money to do that, to do nothing, right? That is one of the hospitals maybe would have been needed in the current situation. But I remember vividly that when MPs tried to access that same hospital, they were denied access. Why were they denied access? You and I, we don't know why, but they were denied. Fact. Then we go on. They introduced something called PPP, Public-Private Partnership, with Mulago Hospital. Today, the Uganda government, Uganda as a republic, owns less than 5% of Mulago. But the previous governments, that's why we've learned nothing from the history. Previous governments, they protected things like Mulago. You understand? This was connected directly to Makele University, because Makele, when they were starting Makele, the visionary civilizers, they knew that a country, Uganda, needed something like Makele, a very strong institution for the black nation. For your own information, Makele is the best black-owned university it's supposed to be, because the 4 universities in Africa that head Makele, they are managed by white South Africans, right? So it should be cherished. But I think a few months ago, one of the best historical buildings, it was burnt, and we saw that the first lady, the Minister of Education, her response was that we shall have another building, but you cannot replace history. This is a historic building. I'm showing you that your future is not secured as a youth. My future as a youth is not secured. I'm unemployed, I'm unemployable, my health is not catered for, my education is not catered for. So how am I going to be in future? Other countries around the world, they are focusing on artificial intelligence, but we cannot even have enough human intelligence today in the same system we're in. I'm not trying to be sadist, but I'm just trying to be honest, because we say here, our theme on this channel is telling the truth, to bring the truth.
Yeah.
You may have a divergent view, but
now, given that securing the future is a slogan,
it's not practical for me. It's not
it's a
practical.
slogan that you speak to your understanding and say that there is nothing being it's something you understand is that is being you that rather will be achieved, right? So what do you think in this race, and who do you think has a better manifesto?
Countries, first of all, before I go to the better manifesto, since I'm not here to campaign for someone, anyone, I'll give my views, and then the viewers will judge who has the best. We have someone who says New Uganda is a very catchy phrase. There is someone who say prosper. There is someone who say future people first, and then there is someone who say renewed Uganda. So when I add that is the opposition slogans, when you look at the slogans from the opposition, actually they all agree that there is a need to have a new Uganda. Even actually now the NRM is trying to be the opposition, because the opposition has preached more of the future. Even NRM that has been in past is trying that is trapped in a past by maintaining the same president. They are living in past. They are trying also to look into the future. That's why I said for them they are dishonest people. But then when I look at Honorable Chagulanyi's manifesto, because it's precise, for example, I have tried to go through it, a very precise one, and they have like 5 sections where they talk about people-centered government. They talk about education very precisely, and they use the 5 A's. I think they talk about academic, athletics, art, and then 4 actually, and agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone of Uganda, because we've seen that 68% of Ugandans that are out of money economy, they survive on the food they plant and the things like that. So is a vision enough to see that that is something we should cherish as a country. Then that aside, I've read through the agenda of ANT, which is also good because they say people fast. But then I see a few contradictions that when they kill civilians, whatever party they belong to, yesterday I waited, the other day I waited to see ANT leaders being in their presence in what is his name, Frank Sentez's burial. I did not see them. You get. So I was like, okay, are they saying what they mean, and they meaning what they say? Because that is a contradiction. If you say a people first, you should be more practical. Also, one thing they are bringing, I think, ANT is the calmness in their approach, but I don't think their approach can uproot a very dangerous dictator. Today we've seen the killing of do we call it killing? I think it's a murder of Zebra Senyange, a boxer who is also related somehow to Bobby.
Yeah, he's basically murder.
He's a murderer. So a guy who may be even a trainer of some of the bodyguards they are killing lately is also assassinated, is also murdered. So we should look at all those things. Did they mean, is their manifesto saying that? And can they show us that it is practical? Theirs was also a bit lengthy, just like NRM. So for me, what Uganda needs today, in my view, we need to scrap off the whole system. Reshuffling is not enough. You cannot transform the current status, but you just need to cleanse it away. So a person who has a manifesto that is going to cleanse the mess that we do have is the best manifesto in my case. You understand? It should have a very, very clear view. Like, but other, when I read most of the manifestos, they are more of broad. Like, you cannot see clearly where they want to take Uganda, and that is dangerous. Just like the current regime, you don't see where they want Uganda to be. When I watch their campaigns, for example, NRM, you will hear they will remind you the way they immunized you. They will remind you that they will remind you. They will tell you about peace, which I've refused to agree with. Because I don't find Uganda peaceful when people can be killed day and night, like they choose when to kill you. You understand? From the likes of Kawesa murder, it happened just early morning. Kilomita was killed in evening. There's another sheikh. I think it was Mama Fina's husband. He was killed very early in the morning. Today we've seen Zebra Senyange is killed. We can talk about Dan Chene was shot just in evening. We can talk about Rita of Kenya, who was also run over by police. We can talk about Sekamwa, Kim. We can talk about other people like Kibalama, who was kidnapped. Up today, we don't know where his body is. So we can talk about people being kidnapped from the airport. Now there is a family looking for one of their beloved one. Is also. So we can talk about all those things, and then the security part.
So you think all the insecurities that have happened in the name of murdering these people for the accusations by the government, they are still accusations under the law. Yeah. Do you think the government is shaken, and whoever tries to point a finger at them, they'll have to be like, no, let's have that one out, because they are, or what they say against that is raising people's thoughts against that.
Okay, that is a nice question. I feel like actually the government is not just shaken, like you say, that the events that are unfolding, are they just shaking the government? I think the events that are happening, they're here to change the government, and that is for real. You know, I just read a very nice article, and someone called it the Chagulanyi effect is real. It is something every Ugandan should, or African should give a look at. This guy or this woman, the people call Arch, they thought it was a wave. I would like to go through a few things. This guy started with betting clients reduced, that is a fact. Back clients reduced. TV entertainment shows lost viewership. People watching football matches reduced. The number of youth directly participating in politics increased. Then, for the first time, youth election caught the attention of the public. The number of women participating in the politics increased. That's why Robin, she's dead, but also replaced by another woman. Some once intelligent people lost value before the public. Political hyenas like the rebel MPs got unmasked. Online TV emerged just like this one we emerging over ordinary TVs. State brutality multiplied. Then also UPDF took over the police. There are more than 10 army generals in police. You can talk about that. Yes, the other day we replaced Lotik, who is another general into police. You understand? But we have not seen policemen crossing to go to the army. You can ask yourself why.
Yeah.
International community increased its focus on Uganda. The sanctions against human rights
This is
abuses.
how we're going to be. Yeah, you're right.
Sanctions against human rights abuse also increased. Like you see, there is many Ugandan journalists that may possibly be sanctioned in future. Regime started receiving warning letters from donors. Also, the dictator can no longer hide under the democracy. Museveni used to do that. Museveni fear going back to the voters for campaign. That's why now he's using the mask called COVID-19 and the SOPs, standard operating procedures. I can speak that word today because a few days ago I couldn't. Then also ghetto people also got recognized and somewhere appointed presidential advisors. Case in point, Butcherman, full figure, people like that. And for the first time, sacks of the money reached the ghetto. Yes, they've been carrying money to the ghetto. Presidential debate not taking place. I think previously they took place. Basically was there. Blogger is becoming more dangerous than COVID-19. Bloggers, you know what they do. People became the first to put a tax on the social media. Uganda became the first. Now there is OTT tax. I think that's why we find it problematic to connect you and I to converse. You understand? It's one of the reasons. Uganda became the first to report to the Google, and that is laughable. You've seen recently some of the online TVs were reported, but then days later, the regime is trying to hack them. Those are some of the changes that are happening. And then Mr. Museveni told Ugandans that his real name is Tibuhabura. We didn't know that the guy was Tibuhabura. You understand? Another thing what this list means, for the first time Ugandans asked Yoweri Kaguta's academic papers. It has not happened before in the previous elections. Nothing has changed, but do you know what has changed? There is that Chagulanyi effect that we should all look at and say, hallelujah. Those of us who want change, those of us who want...
Has it really been the Chagulanyi effect or the reality in people's mind? Because we now sit down, all the opposition basically, to my thinking, is awakened to the fact that they should have someone that spends more years in power off the bench. So what do you think? Is it the Chagulanyi effect or the people power awakening effect?
Yeah, because now the people power who brought in this organizing is this Chagulanyi. That's why we named it. Will be very unfair. I think in Uganda today, professors should develop a theory which we call Chagulanyi political theory, where we analyze things like this to be like for real, to be fair to ourselves and to disabuse ourselves from hate. We cannot take away from this from a person of Chagulanyi. That's why I'm suggesting we should develop a theory, political theory, the Chagulanyi political theory. Like he deserves it. You understand? You see now boxers border, and for the first time, the poor people will stand boldly and tell the dictator that we don't want your money, take away your money. Honestly, you understand? For the first time, we see a young man like Kasidi Ashraf, who is being chased, who got more than 5 jobs, and he dumps them and say, no, I have to report a person of Chagulanyi. That is commendable of this person. So even Chagulanyi effect is the one that is wakening up people to say that, hey, do we have this much power? Can we scare those in power like this? That is something you cannot take away from him. It is something commendable. You know, Chagulanyi also has brought in he has simplified campaigns. Another thing, I think this one should be a specific video. When we talk about the inexpensiveness of Chagulanyi's campaign and how expensive the previous campaigns have been for the opposition. You understand? The innovativeness, like we see there is a lot of innovation, political innovation, that is especially in managing and advertising one is party. Like every political party now, they left the usual way of organizing these things. Uh, JK Football Cup, MOP so and so Cup, we left that stage. Chagulanyi has helped us to live a stage where citizens are given money to cross over to where they want to go, or youths. I'm just saying that NRM is getting stuck in the past. They still use the same trick lately, but it doesn't work because they will eat your money and they know exactly where they have to go. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. That there is not
So
just a
the
shake.
The last question is that Chagulanyi effect an indication that Ugandan politics has awakened?
Definitely. The Chagulanyi effect is wakening up so many things. Like on the list of these things, we can talk about the involvement of ghetto people into politics. We can talk about the involvement of donors now in Uganda's politics. Their presence, we feel it. For the first time, Uganda is scared to let international observers be there during an election. For the first time, we've seen it with our eyes that Uganda is deporting international correspondents from, case in point, CBC journalists were deported to Canada. Why were they deported? The reasons that we know. For the first time, we're seeing that you need to have a different registration to cover campaigns. Journalists will tell you. For the first time, we've seen journalists not being intimidated by the army. They leave their press conference in solidarity with the fellow journalists. That why are you? Journalism is not a crime. Things like that. So this is awakening because of the other things that now people left the entertainment stage where Museveni thought that his Bazukulu, they would definitely be watching him. They will be watching Eddie Mansell. They will be watching concerts. Things changed. You understand? Things are changing, and they fundamentally change. No matter how many people you're killing, when Ugandans stood up against Obote, no matter how many killed, they never went back. Because today, Museveni is applying the Machiavellian theory of politics, make them fear you instead of being loved. No, it's not going to work anymore. Like when Ugandans are very nice Africans. When they say we do not love you, they mean business, that they do not love you, and that is it. Understand it or fail to understand it. So Chagulanyi is this is Chagulanyi effect. However much they will kill people, they will do what, people are not going to love Museveni anymore. And if you may permit me to stop here for now, allow me to raise my case here. Thank you so much. Hey guys, if you've managed to get this far in this video, please, we thank you for that. And we also say, can you please subscribe? Please subscribe to our channel so that you give us more energy to make videos like this. And please, we plan to get more programs and more people on this channel, but you have to give us that energy by subscribing. And near a subscription button, there is another arrow, which is a share button. Please, can you share our videos after watching?